welcome back to Go Call Your Sister. This is a very special day because we are together in person.
We are coming at you guys live from Nashville. Well, not live, pre-recorded, but still.
Basically live.
Basically live because we are recording this in real time. It is Monday. We have been together since last Wednesday. Yeah. We've had a jam-packed couple of days.
Your girls have been working.
Yeah.
Like our asses off.
We have had no relaxation time. Bird literally had to beg me the other day to let her take a nap.
No, like the other day, guys, like we'd gotten home from a full day of working. We had a photo shoot. We were meeting with people, and Allie was like, "Okay, you ready? Like ready to start filming social content?" And I was like, "Please, Allie, like I just need a nap." And I was like, I'm not in the right condition to work."
Yeah, but we had a good weekend.
Yeah, we had a good weekend.
Mom and Dad actually ended up coming up this weekend. So we got to spend time together all as a family. Wynn was here, and it was really great. We had a really good time.
Yeah. And most importantly, we did our second ever in-person Go Call Your Sister podcast event in Nashville on Saturday, and it was so amazing. It was just such an incredible experience. First off, I want to thank all of our Nashville crew for getting tickets and for coming. It was just such a fun, successful day.
Yeah, it was really cool. We did a breathwork and meditation session led by Joanna from Music City Mindfulness. We had private shopping from Privy Nashville. Mom led us in a yoga flow. So just a really relaxing Saturday afternoon. We had some amazing sponsors, Poppy, Roar, Symbiotica. And it was really cool to just see the support that we got, not only from our Nashville community, but also the sponsors that were involved. Mm-hmm. And we had some guys come, some brothers, some dads.
Yeah. We were expanding from a sisterhood to a brotherhood. And it was just awesome. It's especially like meaningful because everyone who listens, like each one of you, I want to jump out of your car or your headphones or wherever you're listening, like hug you and thank you for listening because it means so much to us. So just being able to connect with like a small community is great, and we love you guys.
And it was really cool to see, like, of course we had our friends here that we've known for a long time, but then also some new faces that had just recently discovered the podcast. And it was so great to meet them as well. And it's really cool to see like our community just meshes so well together, like people that we've known forever, people that we just met and we feel like an instant connection to. I just love that piece of it.
Yeah, it was sweet. It was also a great way to kind of slow down our week of grinding. I got here Wednesday, literally hit the ground running, and then having that time just kind of like drop into my body and get back in my head was so nice. Mom and Joanna killed it. It was great. So here's to hopefully many more in-person events in the future because they're so special.
We need to go elsewhere. We need to expand. We've done Nashville. We've done Oxford.
Sound off in the comments where you guys want us to come because we'll come.
Yeah.
Something about us is like we will pull the fuck up. Like if someone's like, come here, I'm coming. Like don't invite me to something unless you mean it. It's like I'll be on the plane.
Oh, that's my least favorite quality when people are like, oh, let's like hang out soon or let's get coffee. I'm like, okay, when? Like what time? What day? Where do you want to go?
Yeah. People are like, come visit. I'm like, okay, do you have a calendar with open weekends? Like what's the best time? And they're like, I'm like, no, seriously.
No, really. Yeah. But all that to say, I am going to need to do some R&R this week because I just have been high strung, get shit done mode. I can feel the anxiety just like effects on my body. I'm just overstimulated. My nervous system is a little bit shot right now, but we'll get back. We're going to take care of ourselves this week.
I love the feeling of just like hard work, hustle, get shit done, like bossing our way through life. However, I have a really big weekend coming up.
You do. You do not have R&R ahead of you.
No, I do not have R&R. So I'm going back to San Diego today. I'll get back really late Monday night. And then Thursday, I'm leaving for my birthday trip to Vegas. I'm turning 25 on Friday, March 1st. Quarter life crisis, OTW. And I'm really excited. However, I'm exhausted. So I told my roommates, I was like, guys, no one like plan anything for this week. Like I'm going to be putting myself in a coma from Tuesday to, I guess Wednesday. 2 days sick. Yeah. Anyways. Big weekend coming up, birthday, hitting my mid-20s.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
We don't really have anything planned this week, but we are finally going to Miami on Sunday.
Thank God. I mean, you're getting to go to Miami.
This trip has been moved a million times and we're finally going. I'm like, of course, once the weather finally starts to get nice, it's a nice 70 degrees outside, we're going to Miami. I really needed this in January.
It'll be nice.
It'll be good. But the reason we're going is I have to meet with my accountant there. And we're going to do that on the front end and just take care of business and then relax.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll be good.
I'm excited for you to relax.
Yeah, me too. I really need to relax. I felt so high strung lately. Like, I know. So tight.
I'm scared. I would be scared to look at your stress level.
My shoulders are up to my earlobes. Seriously.
Something about like being with Allie is like, I work, but like we just work differently. And like, I always know, like, you know, you're handling stuff. So I can just kind of like, you know, go alongside with you. Cause when I'm not with Allie, like with my friends, I'm the one who's like, this is what we're doing. Like XYZ, we're going here. And like, you handle that. So I just feel like I kind of like go alongside you. So you definitely planned a lot this weekend. And I also told my friends, I said that like for my birthday trip, the best gift they could give me is for me not to plan anything.
Yeah.
And for like people like us, that is really, truly a gift.
Well, I'm working on this in therapy actively right now. I'm going tomorrow. But I need to figure out a way to work hard and hustle without it being stressful and anxiety inducing. Mm-hmm. Like, how can I peacefully get shit done? Mm-hmm. You know?
Yeah.
That's something I struggle with.
It is hard because it's like when you're in that go mode, you're just kind of like, I want to fit all of it in. It's like, I'm not always in the headspace to like be in go mode. So when I am, no, I'm not. Like, I'm just that kind of person, y'all. Like, I get shit done when I'm in that mindset. So when I'm there, I'm like, I'm going to get everything done. And then I end up having like a panic attack.
That's why our work styles kind of conflict sometimes because I'm like, hey, this needs to be done, you know, by tonight. And then she's like, well, I'm going to get it done whenever I feel right and the moon is full and the wind is blowing. I'm like, oh no. Get your ass on your computer right now.
I'm like, I just don't have the energy flowing through me right now. And Allie's like, then find it.
Dig deep.
Yeah, it's also like I've never worked in a corporate setting or any kind of like structured job. So I've never been like, I've never had to really be on like someone else's timeline. So I have to learn how to one, like, you know, work with others, but also teach others how to work with me.
I think that it's good that we do work together so much because we can teach each other. Mm-hmm. And maybe we can get to like a really good 50-50 balance because right now we're like opposite ends. So maybe we meet each other in the middle.
Yeah, like I learned how to do a Google Calendar last week. Thank you.
I know when we were doing the interview with Madi, she was talking about how she didn't know what a dial-in was when she first started working. And I was thinking of you in the calendar invite.
I don't know shit about what you corporate girlies do. Like Allie one time was like, hey, can you send a Google invite? And I was like, what is that? Like, I don't know what that means. And I really do think like they should have a course in college, like senior year, like here's how to do like XYZ. Like we don't need to know how to do all this bullshit stuff. Like, you know, random classes, but I do need to know how to make a Google invite.
Yeah, it needs to be like work lingo and tasks that you should just know so you don't look like a complete dumbass when you show up to your first day.
Yeah, definitely.
But, you know, I'm really glad we had Sunday. I went to an awesome church service in Nashville at Church of the City, which was really great and just soul-filling for me. Yeah. And we went to brunch as a family. We went to the soccer game.
Oh, yeah.
Which was really fun. Nashville has a Major League Soccer team. It's pretty new, like
it was
3
awesome.
years. And it's walkable from our house. So we got to do that. And then we ended up playing like hours of Sequence, which is a new game that we discovered during the snow week.
That was really fun.
It was really fun. So it was nice to have a more chill day.
Yeah, it was so great just to be all together. We got to celebrate Mom's birthday. We did a little early celebration of my birthday, and the game night was so much fun. I am like really grateful that we are sober as a family now because like our game nights used to turn so violent and vicious. Like every time we played a game, someone would cry, someone would cuss, and like we were still really aggressive last night without alcohol. So I would be like so concerned to like look back on how we used to be. Seriously.
The board would have been across the room.
Flip the table.
But it's funny because did you see how Mario was being more aggressive and competitive?
Yeah, Mario is not an aggressive or competitive human being. Like,
no.
In the slightest. And our family in that like, 2-hour period like rubbed off on him.
Well, he was talking about how after Christmas we played games and then he was like, I really don't like playing games with your family. It's just not fun.
That's so embarrassing.
Blah, blah, blah.
That's so embarrassing.
And then last night he kept making like side comments and just like being super sassy. And I was like, where is this coming from? This is not who you are.
It's learned behavior.
It is learned behavior.
That's honestly so embarrassing that people would say they don't like playing games with our family.
But it wasn't even a competitive game at Christmas. It was like heads up.
Yeah, that's true.
I was like, oh, damn, Roomy Cube, buckle up.
Yeah, no, I tell people that all the time. Like my family, like, but Win isn't like this. Like Win's not competitive.
Win
like,
is like that. Win is like, when we play games, he was definitely shit talking last night.
Yeah, he was shit talking, but like as like a human being, he's not competitive.
Yeah.
Anyways, it was just it was great to be all together. I feel like
everyone got to meet Goldie.
Oh yeah, everyone got to meet Goldie. So let me just say this: Allie had a baby. She got Goldie, her little new puppy, and she really was kind of fronting that this dog was like the most calm. She's like, Goldie's so sweet. She just lays in my lap. She just like licks my hand. She's so gentle. Goldie is definitely spunky. Spunky girl.
She is excited because there are more people than she's ever met in her entire life.
It was really cute. When I got to the airport on Wednesday, Allie pulled up with Goldie in the car and she was being like really cute. Yeah. But I think we like probably overstimulated her. Like we're not a calming group.
No, we don't inspire serenity.
No. Like absolutely we're like jumping up and down and screaming. And I think Goldie
mom brought her like 17 toys at once. It was nice and overwhelming.
Yeah. But she's really cute. Like
she's really cute.
Really, really cute.
She is 11 weeks now and we're counting down the days until she can go to puppy training school for a month.
That's good.
Yeah.
She's so cute. We can't wait to send her away.
Yeah. She's really cute. She's got to go. No.
She definitely needs to learn some manners.
Yeah. Manners need to be worked on. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we had a great weekend and it is coming to an end, which is sad. I'm going to have to take you to the airport this afternoon. But I'll see you soon because we are planning a trip to California very soon. So
yeah, but they're not moving. Don't get scared, guys.
Well, here's the thing. Mario recently has become full-fledged vegan.
Or as he says, vegan.
Vegan. Yeah, the V's and the B's are confusing. Yeah. So now he's like, well, should we just move back to California?
Oh my God. No, I speak for everyone on the podcast and myself when I say do not move again. Like, we cannot handle it. Allie's like, okay, like, let's record a moving episode. And then like 2 weeks later, she's like, okay, like I'm going to record another episode about moving back. I'm like, no. The next time you guys make a decision, it has to be so firm before you can talk about it on the podcast.
Well, that's why we're manifesting that's why we are shooting for, a month stint in New York City this year.
That's good for you guys. Yeah, you guys should be like little nomadic travelers, like long stay travelers.
No. I don't want to be a nomadic traveler. I want my home where all my things are and I want to come back to it.
Okay, but long-term travelers, that's what you guys are. Like you go somewhere for a couple weeks and then you go back to your house, but you don't move there.
Maybe we just like vacation.
Yeah.
Maybe that's it.
Yeah. No, I remember when you guys moved to LA and you were like going like Airbnb to like house to rental. I was like, oh shit, Allie's like not going to handle this.
Yeah, I burned out of that real quick. I'm not a nomadic travel girly for sure.
Well, yeah, great weekend/week. Thank you for hosting me. It's been such a treat to be together and just get to spend this time together. We have a lot of fun, interesting surprises coming up soon that we've been working on. And yeah, it was just a great week. Thanks for hosting me.
Anytime. I feel like you'll be back very soon.
Yeah, I love the guest room. I'm definitely going to be spending more time in Nashville, which I'm really excited about because my people are here, my best friend Libby, all the girls, and my new niece. So
yeah, you got to come be an aunt.
Yeah.
But anyway, also, I'm really glad we were able to record this episode together. I think this is one of my favorite episodes we've done this year.
Yeah, we totally raw dogged this episode with Matt. Am I allowed to say raw dog? Is that okay?
I don't know.
Okay.
It's our podcast.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we raw dogged it. So Madisen Theobald is one of our very favorite people. She's always been such an inspiration in my life. Her and Allie were Kappas together and went to Ole Miss together. And she's just someone that I've always looked up to. Like when I've gotten frustrated in my career path, I've been like, okay, Maddie could make it work. Like I'm going to fucking roll. And she's just the best. She's had such an amazing career. And we went into this interview with like no questions. We just were like, okay, Maddie feels like a sister. Like she has sister energy. We knew that she could just kind of like roll with us.
Yeah.
And we just let the conversation naturally flow. This episode is so good for all of our girls out there who are either graduating soon, getting ready to look for a job, wanting to pivot and change career paths no matter how old you are. And I just feel like there's so much to learn from this episode and from Maddie.
Yeah, Maddie has an incredibly inspiring career path. She's currently the director of social media and influencer at Makeup by Mario. She has worked at Condé Nast, Allure, Botox. And what I love about this episode is because I think it's so easy to look at people like Maddie on Instagram or social media and think like, wow, like if there's no way I could do that, or like she has the best life, or like, thinking that it's so easy, but she actually goes into the parts that were really, really hard and all of the work that she had to put in to get to where she is. And I think people say like, oh, I put in the work. No, Madi really fucking put in the work. Like she
Yeah.
is a hustler at heart through and through. And she's always been that
She's
way.
always been that way.
And I just think that it's so amazing to hear from people like her, because people try to make things look so easy. And Madi does not cover anything. She does not try to present things to be any other way than they are, which I really admire about her.
I remember being in high school and you telling me about all the things that Madi was doing in college, because she was just someone that I loved, like out of your Kappa friends. Like I love her energy. I felt like we had like a lot of similar personality traits, but like she would work her ass off, and it made me just realize like, oh my gosh, like nothing good comes easy, and it all takes a lot of work. And that's been something that I've kind of kept my mentality through my life. And I feel like she's someone who I just, love being around, and I feel so recharged after our conversation.
Yeah, and we've actually been getting a lot of people reaching out about career advice and, what do I do when I graduate? And I think that when we were thinking about guests, I think this episode is super timely because graduation is coming up soon. And also, just a lot of people have pivoted careers post COVID, no matter how old you are. And I think that there's so much to take away from this interview.
Definitely. So, without further ado, we are so excited to welcome one of our favorite people, Madisen Theobald, to Go Call Your Sister.
Madi, I am so happy to see you and talk to you. It's been so long. And it's also like every time we do talk, I feel like no time has passed though.
Absolutely. I feel the same. I'm so happy to be on with the sisters. You guys have always been like so fun, bubbly, just like such great people to connect with. So I'm like super stoked to be on with you guys today.
Well, when we were thinking about people we wanted to talk to, you came top of mind because you've just been like, I don't know, like we've known each other for so long since we were freshmen in college, and just like seeing the way that you've bloomed and just grown into, everything that you're doing now, it's amazing. And I'm so proud of you.
Oh, thank you. I feel like it's definitely been a long time coming. I think last year specifically too was just such a year of change for me in general. And I now finally feel like just being in New York again, this renewed sense of energy, a new job. I've moved around a bit. So I just definitely feel like it's been a long time to get here. But at the same time, I absolutely love like where I am at this point in my life. So thank you.
I love it. So I think Allie and I were talking about this before the episode, just things we want to go over. There's so many things we could talk about with you. Like we could talk for 3 hours, but we have a lot of listeners who are, either graduating college soon or in young adulthood, and they're not really sure what to do with their life. Can you just give us a little background on like your journey to kind of where you've gotten today?
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is like one of my favorite things. And I do this a lot. Like if people DM me on Instagram, it's a lot of like freshmen from Ole Miss or random colleges about just like career pathing. And my best piece of advice for them is like I always kind of just go through like how I got my start and how I utilize my resources at the University of Mississippi as well. Because you guys, as you guys know, being from Oxford, it's definitely a smaller town. Like if you're trying to go to like a journalism school or you want to work in New York City or LA someday, like your first pick probably isn't Ole Miss right away. But I do think that was like what was the best thing that could have happened to me, having that more like community of a small school where I could really shine and create my own path. So a few things I did at Ole Miss where I worked like the Magazine Innovation Center, like mornings and nights, like unpaid, just to kind of like see what I could get done and work in the magazine world, because I knew I wanted to work at Condé Nast one day, which I did right after college, which I was so grateful. Obviously did all of the Kappa stuff with you guys, rush chair, just like getting my hands in almost everything, even to the point where I would go down the square and kind of walk around and be like, hey, do you guys need like graphic design? So I redesigned all of Frock, which is still on the square. So going back last year for that LSU game and like seeing my logo and all of the logos in store was just so, it honestly was emotional. And also it's just like, wow, I can't believe I did that as like a junior, senior in college.
You were always involved in everything. And kind of backing up a little bit for people that aren't familiar with you, Madi and I were in the same pledge class, Kappas and Ole Miss together. That's how we connected. That's how we got to know each other. But yeah, I just remember you always being involved with everything you could possibly touch.
Literally, newspaper, yearbook. I worked at Roosters, the bar, gave all the girls free drinks. Sorry. But it was so, I feel like I almost, and what kind of propelled me to that, I think I had a conversation with my mom. I was in the house, I remember being in Kappa my junior year, and I was like, I want to move to New York and I want to work in magazines. And she was like, kind of like laughed me off like a little bit, like you're you can do that, but like you need to pay for it. And I was just like, wait, what? You're not going to help me? Like there was support there, but she was like, if that's your dream, like you need to like work to get the money to go and do that. And that's just what I did. I'll never forget. She told me that. I think my senior year I had 8 jobs just so I could like literally move to New York. I was like Teen Vogue ambassador, kind of like you, Sarah Caroline. I feel like we very much had like a similar like attitude and path, like out of Ole
Mhm.
Miss, doing a lot of like mini influencer stuff and things like that. And I feel like that really propelled me to want to move to New York. I moved to New York with like $8,000, I think, in my bank account. I split a room with a Kappa sister. We had a studio. We literally had a curtain in between us, no wall. And you know what? We made it work. And after that, honestly, I was just like, this is where I belong. This is where I'm meant to be. And ever since then, I've been in New York City. So definitely crazy
Yeah.
journey.
I think you're such an inspo for me as well, just because
Aw.
I don't know, like, if this is right to say, but I don't miss, like, I just think that a lot of people follow like the same path. It's like, either they're going to graduate and like go do this, or they're going to move or get married. And I remember watching you when I was in high school still and being like, oh my gosh, you and Allie are similar, just like badass
Totally.
working. Like, I can have any career I want, just work hard for it. And so that's something that I really admire about you guys because
Aw,
I feel like I've
that's so
taken that
nice.
with me. Thank
Well, I
you.
loved also watching you. I mean, same for Allie, like obviously such a powerhouse in college. I was just like, this, I feel like us 3 women, like in college, we definitely created our own paths. And even you, Allie, starting your own thing now, and just you guys with the podcast and everything you guys have going. I feel like I totally feel the same way. And that's why I feel like at Ole Miss, I was able to shine in that way because everyone kind of did just do the same things. I kind of remember our senior year, Allie. I think everyone went to Cabo for like the last spring break. And I was like, well, I'm going to New York. I made myself my own like literal magazine, which was my resume. And I did informational interviews for anyone on the pod that doesn't know like what those are. You can basically go have just like cold calls with like recruiters or anyone. You're definitely not even graduated from school, but I came in kind of like let them see my personality, my resume, my middle name magazine. And honestly, when everyone was in Cabo, yeah, that definitely sucked for me that I didn't get to do like that my last spring break. But I did have a job lined up after school where everyone else was kind of like, I don't really know what I want to do. Now I'm going to just figure it out. So I feel like, yeah, there's times I look back and I'm like, wow, like I do wish there could have been like more like going to Darties and stuff. At the same time, I definitely feel me doing what I needed to do in college to get here definitely propelled my career here in New York. So
Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. And I think informational interviews are always my number one piece of advice to people that are looking for jobs after college because I mean, even finding people on LinkedIn and like reaching out, just asking them to get a 15-minute coffee, like even if it's virtual, I mean, you never know
absolutely.
where those conversations will lead.
Yep. And honestly, that I say that a lot to the girls. And then anyone who's in college already too. I pretty much kind of just what I said, like what I did. I was like, you kind of have to make your own opportunities. I think that's something all 3 of us have really done where it's like, yeah, I remember there was like an intern. I think you did it, Allie. You did a really cool internship in college and you came out here and you worked for, was it PR, a PR firm, right, Allie?
I was at Elle magazine.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this girl's such a badass," and I feel like I even, like, looked into that program too. I don't even think I got in or got accepted, but I was like, "You know what? I'm gonna have to figure out my own thing," so I went online, I went to the boutiques in Oxford, I cold emailed, I got my role at BCBG out of, as an internship one summer, and it was completely unpaid, but I was like, "I don't even care, I just wanna do this so bad because I wanna work in this industry," so I think there are opportunities in your school you can look in within first, but if not, you can 100% create your own opportunity. Even now, freelancing is so big. I know you know that, Sarah Caroline. So
Mhm.
you can just be like, oh, I got reached out to last week. Someone wanted me to come do like content creation for Spanx. And I'm like, well, I have a full-time job, but honestly, I kind of want to do that just to be like on set with Spanx. That'd be so fun. So like
Yeah.
even now, still, I feel like I'm looking for those opportunities just to get more growth and more knowledge for myself.
Yeah, and
Totally.
more
I
connections.
I tell people that all the time because I've started to get
Yeah,
girls contacting me from Ole Miss, and they're like, "What should I do for a job?" And I'm like, "Oh no, I'm not the
here we
one to
go.
ask you this." I have just had such a crazy path to where I am. But I was telling someone the other day, I was like, "What are your talents?" And she was like, "I'm really good at graphic design." And I was like, "Okay, there, like." Automatically that's a money making job, like
100%.
reaching out to people, just going to businesses in your hometown. Like I remember I'd go to places in Oxford that didn't have good Instagrams. And I'd be like, can I run your Instagram for like
Same.
money?
They're probably like,
And
wow, these girls.
yeah. And so like having those skills, a lot of which came from Ole Miss, like I did a lot of graphic design classes and social media classes. You automatically have a money making job and you can live anywhere and do that remotely.
Mhm.
So just think about ways to always have some sort of side hustle going on while you're trying to get to the point that you want to be at. And I think a big thing that a lot of people think is you need to graduate and automatically know what you want to do and have
Totally.
your dream job and work. But like, it's not that way. Like, I
No.
graduated college and I was a barista. I
Yeah,
remember
and
thinking, I
living the
was in
life in
Hawaii. I
Hawaii.
remember thinking, like, this is embarrassing. Like, I have a degree. Like, why am I doing this? But to be real, like, that period of my life taught me so much. I think equally as much as I learned in school. And you don't
Yes.
have to get to that like dream job. It's so unrealistic. Like, take
It's
that pressure off of yourself.
No, you know what? And that's so great that you say that because I also feel like my big piece of advice too, and it's like I heard this from someone, I think when I first started my career, and they said your first job isn't going to be your last. And just like that, it's like you're kind of in this space in your mind when you're young and you're like, oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. Like even me going to Condé Nast, like I was a coordinator, which was like half like a executive assistant. And I was like, I'm not going to tell people I'm like assisting an executive. I'm so embarrassed. Like if I wouldn't have done that, I wouldn't have worked at Allure. I wouldn't have worked at Botox and now working at Makeup by Mario. Like you shouldn't be embarrassed. Like there's truly a season for every point of your life. And like you said, like that was a big learning point for you. And so it's not your last job. Now look at both of you guys. So I do think there's a lot of pressure on people to be like, I don't really like what even when people are even a little bit more advanced in their career. Like I hate that I'm a teacher now. It's never too late. You know, like you said, get the side hustles to propel a resume and then you can make the pivot whenever you want. You're never too old to switch up a career or anything like that. So that's so
I
true.
love that piece of advice. I think there are a lot of people that are listening to this that, they're not coming right after college. They're not, getting their first job. People maybe have worked 7 or 8 years in a career that they hate. And like you said, it's not too late to pivot. It's not too late to start getting the experience, whether it's just like, interning for someone or just kind of like
Totally.
an apprentice role under someone who has a career that you admire, or just reaching out and having coffee with
Mhm.
someone and just kind of learning more about what they do.
Yeah,
Mhm.
especially I think, and this happened to me when I first moved to New York too. I was doing a lot of like more blogging and influencing before I got my roles, and also just trying to get into like the New York scene of like where to go, who to talk to, just kind of thing. So I actually had two people that worked for me were like interns. Of course, I couldn't pay them because I was like dirt poor. I think my first job out of school, literally, you guys, I made $35,000. So we were broke. But I was
And
definitely
living
eating
in
all
New
the
And
York.
living
cookies.
in New York.
Wow.
In New York, I think that's literally poverty if you want to look it up. Now I'm like, I could have like things are bad. But these girls that were so ambitious, kind of like us, like wanted to work, like wanted to be in this scene and wanted to like be working in influencers and things. So I would send them to fashion week shows for me. They would write blog posts for me completely for free. And the girl actually that was one of my interns after that, I got her a role at Glamour. She now works at CN underscored. And she's like doing exactly what I'm doing in social media. And honestly, like it's so great to see people like who have really like just wanted to and inspired to be like kind of like your career path, like thriving is the most rewarding thing for sure. So
Mhm.
Mhm.
Because I think a big thing that I talk to people about is like they want it, but they don't really want to put the extra
there
work
you
towards
go.
it. And it's like, yeah, you want everything, to come as easily as it can, but like a lot of stuff, it does take work and learning. I remember even in college, I did an internship with a PR firm because I didn't know what I wanted to do, and
Yeah,
it wasn't like I realized that I didn't want to do that. So even if you do something and it doesn't go the way you think, at least I learned like, oh, this actually isn't what I want to do. I'm going to shift and figure out what it is that I actually truly want to be doing. So every opportunity, like nothing is wasted. And I
so
even
true.
think it's cool. Like I have friends my age who've worked for, 3 or 4 years out of college now that are starting to do like online, free classes and like
Wow.
getting online like credits and online degrees, I guess, for
Yeah,
something that they're interested in pursuing. And it's like, you're never too old just to keep learning. Like there's always more to do. I
Yeah.
agree
totally.
with
One thing that mom used to tell us when we were growing up was go for the no. And I feel
that.
like you're
Mhm.
this way too. Like the worst thing that could happen is someone's going to say no. Like you might as well just reach
True.
out, try something out, just go for the no. Like that's the worst thing. And I think also like not being fearful of the no and also like what people think. Like I feel like
100%.
you have never cared what people thought about you. You knew what you wanted and you were going for it. And that is something I've always admired about you.
Thank you.
Um, and I mean, it's so important in every aspect of life, like your career, your relationships. Like it's just, it doesn't matter what people think. It's just what you
100%.
want and you've got to go for it.
I
Mhm.
definitely feel that way. A lot of people ask me too, even just like in older in my career, we talk a lot about confidence. And I think one big thing for me when I was younger too, like my mom and your mom, your mom's amazing. I love her. I wish she was my mom. Tell her hi for me. But she put me in like dance or just small stuff that I thought was like younger. And I'm like, even when I talk to moms sometimes, like I have a lot of career advice, but moms who want to pivot or just different things, it's like, how can I get my kid to get ahead too? Or how can I get my kid to be this kind of person? I think just when you're younger too, and even now when you're developed, like during COVID, I took a bunch of online classes, actually got my company to pay for them. I did one at Northwestern and Cornell and just like brand marketing because like I kind of grew up in social media and that's what I wanted to do. But the more I was working in my role at Botox Cosmetic, I really needed to have that marketing background of like, what are the strengths and weaknesses of the brand? What are the points of differentiation? Like I didn't know that because I wasn't taught that at Ole Miss, you know? So like I personally had to go out and like find one, the confidence to be like, hey, I really don't know a lot about this marketing role here. Two, use my resources to try and get my company one to pay for it or also just like get that additional learning. I still had to work like 8-hour days, but then after that, I was in online school. So I feel like you just have to find those opportunities. And if you want it bad enough, you can really try to make it work for you, you know, whether it's tapping into your current network or doing little online classes, like you said, Sarah Caroline, like honestly, like there's a way to pivot at any point in your life.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I want to talk about your career, but then you also mentioned this earlier, so I want to go into this. But when you moved to New York, your salary was $35,000. And I think that people are really scared to take that leap or I think people are really scared to take that leap because it is hard, especially with entry level jobs that pay nothing. Like, how
Right.
do you recommend making it work? Like, what were some things that were helpful to you at that time?
So definitely shared a room with a roommate. That was like super fun too. And I didn't want to be alone. But in general, like I now feel like if you are in a corporation where you are going into work, I think life's just changed so much with the work from home. A lot of these companies are offering like free coffee on Tuesdays, dinner, da da da. Like, you know, you come in, they give you free lunch money. I think we had Wednesday and Tuesday free lunch at my old job. So there's like more incentives. So I utilize a lot of that. And then in terms of like money or like going out, making a living and just like saving, I had to be super diligent. Like it was hard because when you're moving to a new city, you want to be out there and like get to know everyone. But at the same time, I just found a lot of like free activities or did a lot of stuff with my friends that was more like it didn't involve a ton of like bottomless brunches. I mean, I did do that, of course, but then I was like, you know, I can't be doing this every weekend. So for me, I think that was really hard. The money part was super hard. And like I said, my parents like didn't help me get here. So I really had to be super diligent about budgeting, which I had no idea on how to do. I had to like look to a lot of coworkers. I think my first coworker at Condé Nast, he was like a lawyer at Condé. He actually helped me get my first credit card because I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like he like helped me put together an analysis of like what card was best for me. And it was just like so helpful. I feel like don't be afraid also to ask for help when you are in those situations. Like it doesn't have to be money or career, like finding those mentors in your life, whether it is for any of those things, like your parents as well, it does help. Like if it ever got to a bad point, of course, my parents like, okay. But at the same time, there were so many people in my circle when I first went, like that's why networking is so important. So you can grab that free knowledge as much as you can. So that helped me a ton was like just the community and really like using my network to like help, whether it was money
Mhm.
advice, career advice, etc. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah. I feel like there's so much fear. Like I've
Yeah.
experienced this a lot when I told everyone I was going to move to Hawaii. People were like, "That's insane! Like it's too expensive. You're not going to make
Totally.
it. Like whatever." But like I think that you have to get away from that mindset of like just being so worried about money and knowing that it will work if you're willing to work for it. So I
Totally.
have friends even that have, full-time jobs and still work like, on the weekends they bartend or they work in a restaurant and there's always a way to make it work. But if you limit yourself with the belief of like, I can't do it, like, it's too expensive, I'm not going to be able to save money, you're never going to end up going where you want to go. And I talk about
Mhm.
that with people all the time because it's frustrating. It's like people
It
try
is
to hold you
frustrating.
back and scare you that you're going to be broke. But like honestly, the times where I was probably the most broke in my early
Same.
20s after graduating was really fun. Like there was
Yeah.
obviously this kind of struggle, but like it was really fun.
I feel like, yeah, I honestly feel like the struggle of it all too was kind of like something that's like, I also feel this way. It's like if you are this ambitious person and you're listening to this podcast and you're just like, I honestly, I think you're not going to allow yourself to fail. And I've been talking to a lot
Mhm.
of people, and I know Allie was like all of us just kind of starting our own thing and doing our own thing. It's like now that you're so invested in yourself, you're betting on yourself. How could you ever allow yourself to fail? And I just had a friend that launched her own brand, like her own consulting firm here in New York City. And she was like, we're like, are you nervous? All of that. She's like, of course I am. But at the same time, there's no better bet than to bet on myself. And I want this for myself so bad. Like if you're in a corporate career, you're like, okay, it's not really for me. I'll just hop to the next job. When it's you and it's your money and it's your time, you will pretty much refuse to fail. And that's the mentality that I feel like
So
you need to have,
that is so true. And I experienced that too with launching Wildflower. I was so
Yeah.
scared because I had nothing to hide behind. Like it was just me and me alone, and I could either make it work or not. And I was like, I'm sure as hell gonna make it work.
Yeah,
And it was
absolutely.
just the first time that I didn't have anything to fall back on. Like it was just me, and you have to trust your experience and all the time that you've put in before that to get you to this point where you are capable of doing this. And I think too, like especially this younger generation that's coming up right now, like they're so they expect things to be so instant.
Sure.
And it's just
Yeah.
like there are going to be times in your career where your job sucks and you're doing things that you hate and you're working for personalities that are fucking hard to deal with. And
100%.
you just have to push through because I mean that's going to lead you to the next thing. But yeah, it's going to suck for a little bit, but in the long-term grand scheme of things, which is what your mindset you have to shift into, it's going to be worth it.
Yeah.
100%. I actually had like a real when I was at Allure magazine, like that was obviously dream job. I'm so excited to get it. I had a really tough boss, like a really, really tough boss where I was just like, I've just never experienced anything like that. I've always had so many women that have just like been such like advocates of me and like propelled me further in my career and been such mentors. But I had someone who was like a little bit, it was hard for me. It was like hindering and it made me feel, like did definitely make me second guess myself at points. But I will tell you what, right now, that instance, like you're saying, Sarah Carolina, or like even Allie, when you like struggled, I look back and I'm like, those are the things now I'm like, I just know I'll never do. That's not the type of boss I want to be. That's not the mentor I want to be. Yeah, it fucking sucked. There was days I was like, wow, like I think I need therapy. Like I was just like, it was bad. Um, but now looking back, I'm like, thank goodness, because it made my skin so thick that I'm like, wow, like I'm so happy I grew through that. You know what I mean? It was tough for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, tell us about some of your roles that you've had since college because we haven't even mentioned it, but I mean, you've had amazing opportunities. So, kind of walk us through that path.
Yeah, so my first one was in college. I did BCBG unpaid internship, went out to LA, did social media. So that was kind of what got me, I feel like, in the fashion beauty realm, really wanted to do that. And then after that, just worked all through Ole Miss. I did like yearbook, designs classes, worked at the magazine school. I went to Memphis every Friday. You guys probably still have the magazine. Your parents probably like read it, but at home Memphis Mid South, I would drive every Friday to Memphis and like design the whole magazine just so I could get the experience. And then right after school, I started at Condé Nast, which was like a dream job for me. I've always wanted to work in magazines, so I was a digital coordinator there. Just kind of did a lot of different things for all the publications. So Condé Nast has Vogue, Allure, Glamour, Golf, Digest, GQ, Self. So we had a lot of really great publications, and I did like a bunch of like advertising for them. And also, I was like an executive assistant at the time, so kind of like didn't want to do that at all. I was like, I don't even know what's going on. I remember I didn't know what a dial-in was, like for a Zoom call. I literally had to ask my friend next to me. I was like, "What's a dial-in?" He's like, "What do you mean? Like, do you not know like how to join a conference call?" And I'm like, "No, I just graduated college." I'm like, so yeah. Anyway, that was like, you just don't get taught those things.
Yeah.
And then after that, being at Condé Nast, I actually found kind of like you did, Sarah Caroline, where I was like just trying to figure out like how I could now work for like a magazine and be in social media and like go around the square and do stuff like that. We had a digital entity at Condé Nast, so I made a whole Instagram for them. I would go around and anytime we did anything like the digital team, I would post. I would make the aesthetic of the grid. And honestly, thank goodness, because after that, I was known in Condé Nast. And when the Allure role came up for a social media role, I was up against people who were working at like Hearst magazine, Cosmopolitan, like all these different brands and like beauty roles that like they wanted me internally because they knew I could do the job. So then I started Allure. I was there for 2.5 years. I did social media, and that was probably like my coolest, most fun job. I definitely made pennies yet again, but I was rewarded in the experience. I got to meet some really cool people, makeup artists who are still some of my best friends to this day. And I got to meet like Jonathan Van Ness, Chris Appleton. I remember like who else came in? Like Waka Flocka Flame came in, like Brittany Snow. So like it was just really cool in that. I did all the social media for that. And then I was recruited to work at Botox Cosmetic. I remember like taking a call and I was like, I don't really care. But I started to become so interested in skincare. So I was like, wait, is this like do I want to be a derm? I was kind of like pivoting myself, you know? And then when the Botox role came up, I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. I got like double the salary, double the bump. And I was like, well, I can't turn this down. Like, absolutely need to go. So I went and I had just left my job at Botox Cosmetic. I was there for 4 years, which was
Did
like
you
an
get free
amazing,
Botox?
yes,
That's
free
the
Botox.
question.
Girl,
Okay.
that
Yeah,
place
that
does
would do it
really
for me.
stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Free Botox, free Juvederm. Then I oversaw Botox and Juvederm because I was doing a nice job on Botox. They wanted me to do Juvederm as well, which for those on the pod who don't know, that's like the filler. So cheeks, lips, things like that. And I loved it. And I got a team there. That was my biggest opportunity when I became a boss, like quote unquote. I got to mentor. I had my own girls. We were all really close. And just even leaving, that was the hardest part because it's the people. And then this Makeup by Mario role just came up last November. So I'm about 3 months in. I saw it on LinkedIn. I wasn't really looking like, whatsoever. But I knew I wanted to be back in beauty. I was getting that itch. I don't know, kind of Allie, probably you starting your own thing. You're probably like, okay, it's like time to do my own thing now. And I was reached out to via email because they like saw me look at it on LinkedIn. And yeah, and then I applied and I got all the way to the final rounds. And I was like, oh my God, am I gonna like leave my job? Because like I've just grown up at Botox, which is owned by Allergan for 4 years. I had this like big team. I had a big role there. It felt really bittersweet, but I just knew it was like, you know, it was the time. Like I wanted to be back in beauty. I really wanted to do this. So yeah, just started making my mark. I'm director of social and influencer here. So I now have a team of 4 under me. I'm hiring. So anyone on the pod who wants to apply, I'm hiring for a manager of influencer and coordinator of influencer for Makeup by Mario. And honestly, it's just been, this is like where I'm meant to be. I feel it so much in my bones. I'm obsessed with it to the point where I'm sleeping at night and I'm dreaming about what I'm going to do the next day in a healthy way. But I definitely have had a really rewarding like way of getting here. And I'm just so excited that it's led me to this point at Makeup by Mario.
You know,
Oh
when
my
you see
gosh.
someone and like talk to them and you can tell that they're just living their authentic purpose and like doing what they're supposed to be doing, I feel like that's you. I just see it in you.
I'm
And
like tearing up because I'm so
I
proud of you.
know.
Look at my
Oh,
eyes. Like it's just it's such a like, you know, all the hard work and like I know the hustle and like the grind and like you see things on social media. I think this is what like my generation especially is so guilty of. It's like you see like, you know, you doing this badass stuff. I'm like, you're like, oh yeah, Maddie, like she's doing this. But like no one got to walk with you during all the shitty
no.
parts and like the grind and the hustle and the unpaid stuff and living with your roommate and having a curtain. And so
Yeah.
working 8 jobs in college, like
yeah.
Yeah. Like no one, you're so
insane.
right. And I'm so glad you guys, I feel like it doesn't bother me when people say like, "Oh, you're so lucky," but I will correct them and be like, "I'm absolutely not lucky. Like I absolutely had to work my literal ass off here." And I feel like I've had relationships in the past, even I've had friends that don't even sometimes won't value that, and it's like if you
Mhm.
don't see. All my best friends now like know what it took to get here and like relationships too. It's like if you're not here with the dream grinding with me and believing like there's not a space for you in my, my life at this point. Like I need
Oh yeah.
advocates, I need friends that care and want to be on the same level. And as you get older, and I'm sure a lot of people that listen, like you've probably found like they're your people that were in your life for a reason, season, whatever that quote is too. And it's like now when you're in this career driven position and you really want to work on yourself and getting the next level, you want those people around you that are in your corner for sure.
Yeah, I
I
think you definitely get better at weeding people out as you get older. I've kind of always been that way and maybe been too harsh on the weeding out.
I've not.
Bird's the opposite. She's like, everyone.
Yeah, I'm like, everyone's awesome, but I've learned it from Allie and like I
Totally.
think over time, because when I talk to people about business and career, I'm always like, you know, who are your best friends? And they're like, why? Like this isn't what I asked you about. And I'm like, because it's so important. Like
So
if
important.
I would have been around people who were like shitting on me all the time and like being like, you're cringe, you're embarrassing, I would
Totally.
have like put myself in the smallest box. And so I try to take from Allie and I like really survey the people I'm around. And I think this move to San Diego was the biggest for me because I didn't really try to make a lot of friends because I was like, I have my people
You
who
do.
believe in me, and that's kind of all I need. And like, you know,
Yeah, and
friends will hold you back from so much potential. So as important as it is to have opportunities and, you know, internships, take a look at who you're surrounding yourself with because
Totally.
they will kill you if you don't have the right
yeah, and
people.
the same with romantic relationships too. Like you can't be with a partner who doesn't understand,
Oh,
that
fuck
you have
no.
to grind every day. And
No.
I mean, even, I'm in a relationship now with someone who is an entrepreneur multiple times, and it's just you have to be with people that
Mhm.
inspire you and kind of show you the path.
They need to hype
100.
you up. My last relationship I was in, I remember him always being like, it's just like, you need to get off your phone. Like, it's just silly. I'm like, it's my fucking job.
Like, I do this
Wow.
for a living. I
Like,
definitely I think same as well. I've had relationships that I felt like there's even, like, talking about, like, getting promotion or, like, how much money I was making, like, whatever it was, there was a sense that, like, "Oh, like, you don't deserve that." And I definitely feel like looking back now, I'm like, fuck you. Like, I absolutely deserve this. Like, I don't
Mhm.
know what your complex is, but at the same time, like, I've been out here, like, grinding, working my ass off to get here. And, like, if you're not in my corner and your people who are supporting you aren't even in my corner, and if you're not hyping me up when I'm not around, like, that's not
Mhm.
something I want in my life. And that's not what I want in a partner either. So even now being single, I definitely feel like that's definitely what I want to look for. I want to find someone who is just as ambitious as me. Cause, like, Allie, like, people probably have dated in the past, just like aren't they're probably just not like I mean, your boyfriend now I feel like so perfect for you, such an like entrepreneur as well. And it's like I definitely want that. I don't need to kind of like make something work for me. I want it to already be like, wow, like you have your shit together, I have my shit together, but we can still like be successful on our own terms. So
mhm.
Yeah.
definitely in relationships as well, you want to make sure you look for that too. Like it's important.
Yeah. You want a
Seriously.
cheerleader, you want a hype man, and you
Right.
want friends and relationships where when you're not in the room, they're throwing your name out there for opportunities. That's
Right.
something that
Mhm.
I value in my friends. It's like I'll get emails from people and they're like, "Hey, I was in a meeting with Blaine, my best friend, and
Yeah.
she told us you'd be perfect for this brand deal. Are you interested?" And I'm like, "She didn't have to do that." And I
Totally.
wasn't even there. And so those are the people you want. They should
Yeah.
be hyping you up and throwing your name out there.
Yeah,
Exactly.
absolutely. Well, I know you have a busy day ahead, so we're gonna wrap it up. But
Yeah.
before we get off, first of all, I'm obsessed with Makeup by Mario's eyebrow pencil. I just was using
Okay.
it before
The
we hopped off.
girlies.
I just love what he did. We worked with him at the Home Edit. I think we like
Really?
redid his office at one point. But his whole team was just so incredible to work with. But I have to ask you, like, what are some of your favorite products that you're loving? Whether it's makeup or like beauty treatments. I'm really into skincare
Skincare.
as well.
Oh,
And I've
same.
been looking into like micro needling and things like that. So I want to hear all the things from you since you live it every day.
Yeah, the guru.
Readily. That's such I love that question. One, I was already a big Makeup by Mario girly. When I interviewed, I like talked about the brush. There's a brush called the F4 brush. It's the only brush I use to like apply makeup. It's amazing, so everyone should get it. It's for your foundation, for bronzer, cream, whatever it is. And then so that's my favorite Makeup by Mario tool. My favorite product of his is the Ethereal Eyes palette. I think we sell one like every 6 seconds. It's like pretty crazy. It's like this
Wow.
beautiful like glitter, but not like crazy glitter, which is like a nice sheen of like going out, but also like day to day. So those are my favorites. And then in terms of skincare, when I did start working at Makeup by Mario, though, Mario comes in the office like 3, 4 days a week, so I do get to see him a lot.
Every day.
I had to have like a full beat every day because he didn't. No one says that, but I'm like, I can't look wrecked. Like I need to be like Mario girly. So my face like freaked out because I was working from home a lot before and traveling to LA a lot for my old job. So I didn't wear a lot of makeup. So coming into the office, my face just like freaked. I started doing bio peels, which is like a chemical peel, but it's not a physical one. It's like under the skin. And it really just overall like helped with like some of those like acne breakouts I was getting, the flare ups, or even
Mhm.
any of the dark spots I had. And I did 2 in like 2 weeks, and you're supposed to do like 4 in like 4 weeks. And I was like, oh my God, like my skin's amazing. So I'm gonna start incorporating that bio peel. It works from within. So it's not like you're gonna be out and you're like peeling away. So you guys should definitely check that out.
I will
I've
do
never
that.
even heard of that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so
That's
good.
Oh
So
my
yeah.
incredible.
gosh. That is
Thanks,
amazing.
guys. Aw, I
I'm
want to
just
see y'all.
I'm
I
just so
know. I
proud of
miss you too.
you.
I'm actually
And
going to be in New York in March, so we'll have
Okay.
to hook
Okay,
up. I'm
well.
going to be there before Lindsay's wedding, and then right after, I'm going right back. So,
Okay, cool. Well, I'll
yeah.
get you both. I'll give you Makeup by Mario, obviously, too.
Oh my God,
I
thank
love
And
you.
so
that.
you girlies
My
need it.
best friend is moving to New York and our cousin Olivia is moving to New York. So
Yeah.
I'm going to be there a lot
Yeah.
Okay,
visiting. I'd love
good.
to see you.
Okay, well, I know I'll see y'all very soon. So thank you guys so much for having me
So
on.
proud of you. If you
What a
ever
Thank
need
dream.
you.
2 hype woman cheerleaders, it's us. And you can call us. Like the fact that I teared up listening to your story, like we're
Yeah.
always cheering you on from afar and we're so proud of
It's
you.
really cool once you get to the point in your life where you've grown up since college. Like it's been 10 years since we
Totally.
a little less, we're not that old. But it's you see people and it's like a full circle and it's just it makes you so proud. Like even the people that you don't talk to every day, but you follow on social media and you're just like, I am just so, so proud. And it's just been
Thanks,
so great to
Allie.
see your journey. And thank you so much for coming on and sharing this with us and our listeners. And it's always good to catch up with you.
Oh, you guys too. You guys are like the bomb sisters. You guys have it going. I can't wait to see what you two do the rest of your life. Like, love you girls very much. And just thank you so much for all the support and love. Like, literally always for the past 10 plus years, whatever. So thank you.
Well, we love you, Madi, and
We
we
love
will
you.
see you soon, I'm sure.
Okay, girlies. Bye.
Bye.